So we could be looking at a world where antibiotics no longer work.
It is the end of the road for antibiotics unless we act urgently.
So we know that antibiotics are incredibly important to our medical system. We rely on them to treat common infections, and things like cancer chemotherapy, routine surgical procedures would not be nearly as safe without effective antibiotics. But more and more these drugs are not working. Bacteria are getting stronger because we're overusing antibiotics when we shouldn't be. When we go to the doctor and we're sick, they prescribe us antibiotics if we need them, and usually in a week or so, we're fine. But what if we weren't? What if the drugs didn't work? Medical experts are warning that if we don't stop overusing antibiotics, they could stop working altogether. And already in the United States, at least 2 million people get sick every year from antibiotic-resistant infections, and 23,000 die. My wife, about 4 years ago, she came down with a pretty nasty MRSA infection. We went to the emergency room, and I'll never forget talking to the doctor, and he pointed out these red streaks going up her leg from where the infection was on her foot. And he said, that is the infection in her bloodstream, so we're gonna make sure we put her on antibiotics and take care of this. My wife had recurring infections 2 or 3 more times that year, and each time I thought, what if this is the time they don't work? We need to protect the foundations of modern medicine at all costs, right? The antibiotics are so critically valuable to how we live our lives and stay healthy, and we should only use them when they're absolutely necessary. So while overprescribing antibiotics in human healthcare is certainly a problem, the majority of the antibiotics important to human medicine that are sold in the United States are going to livestock. This needs to stop. The FDA has not taken strong action to reduce antibiotic use in agriculture, so we've turned to market-based pressure to preserve these life-saving medicines. So we're calling on some of the largest meat buyers in the country, mainly fast food companies, to stop sourcing any meat raised on routine antibiotics, because that will spark the kind of ripple effect we need to see in the industry to protect our health and keep antibiotics effective for the future. First, we convinced restaurants like McDonald's, Subway, and KFC to stop serving at least chicken raised on medically important antibiotics. And now we estimate that about half of the US chicken industry either currently is or soon will be no longer misusing these life-saving medicines to raise their animals. So now we're turning our attention to beef, which actually buys the most antibiotics out of any meat sector. There's a lot of ways that we mobilize consumer support and demonstrate that kind of pressure. I think one of the most important ones is we are going out there throughout the year, and especially in the summertime, and knocking on hundreds of thousands of doors to talk to people face to face and get them to take actions like signing a petition signature that we send to the CEOs of fast food companies like McDonald's to show that, here's physical support from hundreds of thousands of people all over the country that you should do this. Our primary focus, we're still pushing to get the top 6 restaurants to phase out all meat raised on routine antibiotics. It could have the kind of industry-wide change or spark that change that we need to see.